Good morning students. Coming back to the next session of microcontroller. So in this class we are going to see about the processor used in microcontroller. So the processor used in microcontroller are RISC, CISC. RISC means reduced instruction set computer. CISC means complex instruction set computer. So which processor we are going to use in a microcontroller? What are all its advantages, disadvantages? Why we are going to prefer this processor in the microcontroller? All these things we are going to see in this particular class. So here I have shown it as a comparative statements between your reduced instruction set computer and complex instruction set computer. So reduced instruction set computer. So from this only it is understood that the instructions is simple and it takes only one cycle. So here we should know about the mission cycle. Mission cycle is nothing but the time taken to complete one particular instruction execution. That is called as your one mission cycle. So here it uses very simple instruction and it takes only one cycle. Whereas in case of your complex instruction set computer, it takes complex instruction taking multiple cycle, because to compute your complex instruction it needs to have different machine cycles. So it is required to use a complex instruction, and also it takes a multiple cycle. And in case of your reduced instruction set computer, only few instructions will refer the memory, whereas here the most of the instruction will refer your memory. Here the instructions are executed by hardware, whereas in case of CISC the instruction are executed by your microprogram. In case of your reduced instruction set computer, the instruction is simple and it takes only one cycle, whereas in case of your complex instruction set computer, complex instructions we are going to use, whereas it takes multiple cycles. Here only a very few instructions will refer the memory. Here most of the instruction will refer your memory. The instructions are executed by hardware, whereas here the instructions are executed by software by means of your microprogram. In case of your RISC processor, the fixed instruction format is fixed, whereas in case of CISC the instruction format is variable. As discussed earlier, we have only very few instruction in case of your RISC processor, whereas in case of your CISC we have many more instructions to refer your memory, to execute and to manipulate your complex instruction. So since here the instructions is fewer, the addressing mode is also few, and most of the instruction have register addressing mode. So here we don't have many addressing modes, only few addressing modes are there. In that, as most of the instruction refers to your register, it is using register addressing modes. Whereas in case of your complex instruction set computer, we have many addressing modes. So here complex, though we have few addressing modes, complex addressing modes and are synthesized in software. Here it supports. In reduced instruction set computer will not support this complex addressing mode, whereas CISC supports complex addressing modes. Here we have multiple register set, whereas here we have only simple register set. Highly pipelines. So what is meant by pipelining? Pipelining in the sense multiple instruction can be executed at once, whereas in case of CISC processor it is not possible to have a pipelining or less pipeline. It means that in this CISC the instructions are executed one after the other, whereas in case of your RISC, that is reduced instruction set computer, we can compute multiple instruction at once, whereas in case of CISC it is not possible. Here the complexity in compiler, whereas here the complexity in microprograms. Why? Because here it is controlled by means of your microprogram, as discussed in the previous slide. Here instructions are executed by hardware, whereas here the instructions are executed by microprogram. Therefore the microprogram, we feel like complexity in microprogram, whereas here complexity in compiler, because it has to identify your hardware. Next is your conditional jump can be based on a bit anywhere in your memory. Here conditional jump is usually based on the status of your register bit. These are all the some examples that your RISC and CISC processor is used. So RISC processor is used in PIC microcontroller series. CISC processor is used in 8085 microprocessor and 8086 microprocessor, Motorola, Zillow, and microcontroller 8051 series. So the microcontroller 8051 series uses CISC processor. So you can see what are all the key points that your microcontroller will start to work, and it is using this processor, right? So here it is using a complex instruction set. Most of the instruction will refer your memory. The instructions are executed by the microprogram. So we need, therefore we find complexity in microcontroller. The format, we can find a variable format instruction, and many instructions we have, and here many addressing modes. So, and these are all the some important points that we have undergone in this processor RISC and CISC. In the previous session, we have seen the processor used in a microcontroller and a microcomputer. Now we'll look into the computer architecture. So why computer architecture is required? So every computer need to store the instructions or code and also the data, depending on how these are stored in the memory and how the memory is accessed. So based on this architecture only, we are going to see how exactly the data and instructions are stored, and depending upon how these memory are accessed and how the data is stored in the memory. Based on this, we have two broader classification. One is your Von Neumann architecture and second one is your Harvard architecture. Von Neumann architecture is also known as Princeton architecture. So how exactly, so this architecture is important to see how exactly we are going to retrieve the data, store the data, how we are going to access the program, access the code. So it is the general architecture of your Von Neumann architecture. The Von Neumann architecture is also known as a Princeton architecture. So when you look at this, here it has got a memory. To access this memory, we have both address bus and data bus. Mandatorily, we will be having address bus, data bus and control bus. Data bus is used to retrieve the data. Address bus is used to load the address, that is what is the data available in that particular address. It will be retrieved through this data bus, and control bus will see whether it is to be written, whether the data has to be written or the data has to be retrieved. And we have two memory, one is your ROM, another one is your RAM. As we discussed earlier, ROM is nothing but your program memory, RAM is nothing but your data memory. So soon after the data retrieval, it will be stored on the memory interfacing unit. And for example, in the instruction decoder, we are writing a codes to access the memory for doing some mathematical calculations. Then after retrieving the data, the memory interface unit will load the data onto this instruction decoder. Then the instruction decoder, according to the opcode, it will be getting processed in this processor and built-in register. This is the general architecture diagram of your Von Neumann architecture, or it is also called as your Princeton architecture. So the key points of this Von Neumann architectures are, it uses a single memory space for both instruction and data. It is also known as stored program computer. So to store the instruction and data, it uses only one memory space. It is not going to use a multiple memory space, that is, it is not going to store the data separately, instruction separately. In case of your Von Neumann architecture, both your data as well as the instruction are stored in a single memory space. That is why it is called as your stored program computer. Here the data transfer rate, that is called as the data transfer rate, is also called as your throughput. That is how the data will be getting transferred between your CPU and memory. So it is very limited in case of your Von Neumann architecture. Therefore, compared to the amount of the memory, in modern machines, throughput is much smaller than the rate at which the CPU is working. So this series limits the effective processing speed. So as the data transfer is limited, the speed is also limited. That is, this processing speed is also limited, and it is required to perform a minimal processing on large amount of data, as the CPU is forced to wait for vital data to be transferred to or from the memory. Now, as the CPU speed and memory size have increased much faster than the throughput between them, this bottleneck become more problem. Program modifications can be quite harmful, either by accident or design, because here the data as well as the instruction are stored onto the same memory space. So if I wanted to modify the program, or if I wanted to have any data modification, it is difficult for us to do it in case of this architecture. In some simple stored program, computer designs a malfunctioning program can damage itself. Otherwise, the program or the operating system possibly lead to a crash. So most processor like 8085 is nothing but your microprocessor. 8086 also a microprocessor. M6800, it is also a processor. So most of the microprocessor uses this Von Neumann architecture. M stands for Motorola. So in the next class, we'll see what is meant by your Harvard architecture. In the previous class, we have seen Von Neumann or Harvard architecture. That is the architecture that is having a single memory space for both your data as well as your program. Next, coming back to your Harvard architecture, it is the general block diagram of your Harvard architecture. The general block diagram of your Harvard architecture comprises of program memory and register space data memory. So in the previous architecture, when you see the block diagram, it has got only one memory space to store both your program as well as your data. Whereas in case of Harvard architecture, we have two memory space, one to store your program, another one to store your data. So each of your memory will have address bus, data bus and control bus. Same thing here, data bus, address bus and control bus. It is your program memory, right? Program memory in the sense we'll be writing the program, that is the instruction will be written onto the instruction decoder. That is why here the data bus is unidirectional. So to fetch the program from the corresponding address, the instruction decoder will send the address through the address bus. So this program memory is not going to send any address or address to the instruction decoder. So it is a unidirectional bus from the instruction decoder. Whereas in case of your data memory, data has to be read from the memory and it has to be written. So it is a data bus is a bidirectional data bus, and here we have a address bus, that is the processor or the register has to access the data that is available in the particular memory space. So we need to send the address through this address bus. And control bus, as usual, it is mainly used to read or write the data. So in between we have a CPU where the stack, PC stack, processor and register interface and instruction decoders are available. The key features of your hardware architectures are physically separate storage and signal pathway for instructions and data. In case of Von Neumann architecture, we don't have a separate space to store your data as well as your program code. Whereas in case of your hardware architecture, we have a separate memory space to store the instruction as well as your data. So the characteristics of two memories like word width, timing implementation technology and memory address structure and size can be different. In some systems, instruction can be stored in ROM because ROM is a program memory, whereas the data has to be stored in RAM. So ROM is nothing but your program memory, RAM is nothing but your data memory. So in some system, there is much more instruction memory than data memory. So size of the instruction address is much larger than your data address. In case of your hardware architecture, the CPU, so we have shown here the CPU, right? The CPU read the instruction both from your and perform data access at the same time and even without the cache memory. A hardware architecture can thus be fastest for the given circuit complexity, and it do not use a single memory pathway. So when you look at this diagram, suppose if I wanted to access the instruction, address will be sent and respective instruction will be, data will be sent through this. Same thing here. So here parallelly we can access the data both from your both ROM as well as your RAM. So it will be the fastest architecture. So far we have seen the processor used in microprocessor and microcontroller, and the computer architecture used in computer architecture used in microprocessor and microcontroller. What is the difference between your Von Neumann architecture and hardware architecture? Thank you students. In the next class we will be starting with the introduction of your 8051 microcontroller. Thank you.